Welcome back to part 2 of the mysterious world of Gong and the Company of Tibet, the invisible Company of Tibet. We left off with Zero to Infinity, their studio album from 2000 and as I said, I love that album. And for the tour, they released this. First, this was released only on a DVD. And yes, I remember owning it, playing it when I had friends. We smoked some good hashish and played this. And suddenly, I didn't have the DVD anymore. Someone snatched it from me. But I would probably do the same. And here they present a lot of the material from Zero to Infinity on this one, and the live versions are very good. It is the same lineup as on the studio album. And besides performing quite a lot of songs from Zero to Infinity, I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 songs from Zero to Infinity. And of course they pull up Oldies but Goldies, Radio Gnome Invisible, Zero the Hero and the Witch's Spell, I Am Your Pussy, Flute Salad, Ugly Way, Outer Temple, Inner Temple, Master Builder, and You Can't Kill Me. And this is an excellent, I was happy to find the CD and DVD, because usually when it comes to my favorite bands, of course I don't mind owning stuff on DVD, but I love when they add a CD to the DVD or Blu-ray nowadays. But because I want to listen to the music. I don't want to watch Daevid Allen jump around at the age of God knows what. may he rest in peace, by the way. 2000, and then silence from Gong. But Daevid Allen, he kept on going. He did a couple of concerts in 2002 with 2 members from Acid Mother's Temple. The members eludes me right now. Let's see. Hard to pronounce these Japanese names. And I need my reading glasses. But yeah, Guru and Zero. There are not many who knows about this album. I didn't even know about this project until much later in my Gong journey. First time I heard Gong, well, let me think, I was about 15, 16 maybe. And yes, of course I heard Flying Teapot. And I loved it. So I went out and bought Angel's Egg and You, because you know everyone always points to the trilogy, the Radio Gnome Invisible trilogy. So of course that was my first introduction to Gong back in the days. And I've come back to Gong all the time. I had pauses, I had tons of vinyl, which about 7 years ago I sold them all off. Huge profit, not really, I sold it way too cheap. But that's another story. But yes, the members of Guru and Zero, it is Kawabata Makoto, aka Makoto Mango. He's on guitar and organic loopage. As far as I understand, this is the mastermind of Acid Mother's Temple. And you get Cotton Casino, aka Mango Kotingu on synthesizer and biological yodeling. And of course the divided alien Daevid Allen, aka Psychedelic on glissando guitar and song smithery and arrangements. Well, at least on this one, this is the studio version they did. Whoops! After doing, sorry about that. I have no way of. Come on! You are right, and I am you. Will it work? Oh my god! How embarrassing! You are right, I am. Come on. Will this work? Yes. Sorry. Well, yes. Guru and Zero. This is Beauty and the Basket Case. Released on the Obscura label. 1,000 copies only. And I think I said in part 1 that the Banana Moon Obscura were to be 20 CDs. I think this is the last one, number 17. I don't think they released anything more after this. I'm quite sure about that. And this is first spontaneous concert twixt David and the Acid Mothers Temple members Makato and Cotton in USA 2002. And this is like partly improvised, and they also play a version of the Acid Mothers Temple Pink Lady Lemonade, which I believe is one of their more famous songs. I'm not the hugest, I don't know a lot about Acid Mothers Temple. I've heard a song here and there. They are good, of course, but Gong is better, or Daevid Allen and friends to me are the real deal. Especially if David is not singing, can be very interesting. And here we have, I'm not sure if I can call them a band or what. It was a project in the beginning as Guru and Zero. And this one is the studio a studio album, the only studio album they did, recorded on Daevid Allen's own, I think, 4-track recorder. It sounds very not lo-fi, but it sounds, it doesn't sound homespun either, but it sounds cozy. It sounds very cozy because it's probably recorded on an analog 4-track, and this is just a 40-minute continuous journey. There are many different parts, of course. They could probably easily have split it up into song sections, but I like it that they don't, because they always return to this Acid Mothers Temple song, which I just mentioned, the Pink Lady Lemonade. They always return with this song in some kind of form. And it's a very, very interesting album. I could highly recommend Guru and Zero, the studio album. I'm not sure if the title is Magatu Mangu. Here it says Makatu Mangu here. So I guess that's the title. And that led up to Gong forming a band with Acid Mothers Temple. So here we have Acid Mothers Gong. And this is a weird fucking album. This is maybe the weirdest project that I've heard with Daevid Allen in it. At last, since Divided Alien Playbacks 80, it's maybe even weirder. I missed the other live album. This is the live in Tokyo. They released another one, I think, live in Nagatu, if I'm not mistaken. And this is, well, as a Gong purist or fan or collector, this is fun. But I have to be, you know, in the right mood. If I'm stressed out, I would never, ever play this album. If it's Sunday, I'm waking up chill and feeling okay, then it's perfect for me. But it's not a Sunday album in the general sense, you know. And you got Daevid Allen, you got Julie Smythe, you got Josh Pollock from the University of Arrows, which was a side project Daevid Allen and Josh Pollock did. We'll come to that very soon. And Kawabata Makoto and Cotton Casino and Hiroshi Higashi and Yoshida Tatsuya. You should all know him from the band Ruins, Samla Mamas Manna, and the late period Samla, and Atsushi Tsuyama. So I'm assuming this is more or less the entire Acid Mother's Temple with David and Julie and Josh Pollock. And yeah, this the titles are a little misleading, like Octave Doctor Da Fall J and Switch Doctor Q, PHP Gnome Service, Lord Goddess Zero. All of these titles are like a variation of a Gong song with a similar title. If I remember correctly, they do some Gong music here, and I do also believe they do some Acid Mother's Temple songs. But in a way, it sounds like total improvisation, and it might be most of this is pure instrumentation. I cannot confirm nor deny it. I wish I had the other live album by Acid Mother's Gong, and there is also a DVD of Acid Mother's Gong, which I actually share on my channel, long gone out of print. And if you have a problem with me having it on my channel, contact me and just let me know and I'll remove it. Well, Acid Mother's Gong continued, but this time they just call it Gong. But well, it is a Gong album, of course it is. Most of it is very experimental, as Acid Mother's Gong. You could, I'm not sure. Some claim this is an Acid Mother's Gong album, even if the title says Gong, and that may well be. But I think there are more to this than just the ones I just show you, because this is a studio album and a fully fledged one, and I love it. Super Cotton lasts almost 9 minutes. That's the tune you should check out. It's crazy. It's everything I love with Daevid Allen. It's everything I love with old Gong, 70s Gong. But they, you know, Gong in the 2000s, before David passed away, they kept the original spirit, they kept the original glow, they kept everything except the Gong Mason late 80s, early 90s they didn't keep that. But yet, yes, Old Fool's Game is a beautiful acoustic song. Sirona was in fact written with Mike Howlett. I'm not sure he is a member on this album, but in the liner notes, David tells us by the end of the 2001 Gong tour, I was restless for a change. And had Gong become too safe? He says, I had originally thought that Gong had such an excellent musicians. Well, what could go wrong? Alas, seeing the Subterranea DVD, which I just showed you. It's a fantastic concert. It confirmed my suspicion, Daevid Allen's suspicion, and Mike Howlett, voiced it we had become a comfy armchair of a band. So yes, that's the reason Acid Mother Gong and Gong did this album. What more to say about it besides it's great? There are some really freaky stuff on it. There are some really mellow acoustic stuff on it. It's not like best of Gong in any way or shape or form, but to me this is a very important Gong album in their discography. I know some people truly hate it. I can understand that, but we move on. Well, what is this? It's Daevid Allen's University of Errors. And what is performed here, you might ask? Well, some of you might remember Daevid Allen as a founding member of the Soft Machine. And what this is remade versions of the very first demo jet propelled photograph, all of the 9 songs, and they also add the first single which Daevid Allen was featured on, Love Makes Sweet Music and Feelin' Reelin' Squealin', and he adds Hope for Happiness, and he adds Soon Soon Soon, aka We Know What You Mean. And this was recorded in 2003 or 4, late 2003, I guess. Yes, October, November 2003, and it was released 2004. By then, I'd seen Daevid Allen and the University of Owls in 2002 or 3. And they mixed up, a couple of David solo songs, a great deal of University of Owls songs, and yes, some of those early Soft Machine songs, and 1 or 2 Gong songs. They played I Am, You Are, We Are Crazy, and maybe they performed another one. I'm not sure, it's so many years ago. But yes, I also saw Daevid Allen and the University of Owls in 2007, 8. I'm not quite sure. And yes, in my Soft Machine video, I forgot to show you the Cavenagers albums I got. And since we went from the jet propeller stuff with David, first David, he didn't leave, wasn't fired, he wasn't allowed to enter England after a tour. So he moved to France and formed Gong, and Cavenagers, of course, he left after the first Soft Machine album, and he went solo with this fantastic album, Joy of a Toy, which again features Robert Wyatt on drums, and it features Mike Ratledge on keyboards. I also think Hugh Chopper, David Bedford, Daevid Allen isn't featured on it, but I thought I'd slip this one into this video. If you don't know Kevin Ayers, you're missing out. Joy of Toy, it is a masterpiece. If I have to mention a song, well, if you're a Submachine fan and you don't know this album, well, you probably do, but Song for Insane Times is fantastic. If you want a song with Syd Barrett featured on it, you're gonna check out Religious Experience, Aka singing a song in the morning. And if you just want to hear a classic Kevin Ayers song, check out The Lady Rachel. It's a great song. I'll be really quick with these ones. The second Kevin Ayers album, With the Whole World, Shooting at the Moon. Now this is not as, well, it's psychedelic as fuck, but it's not that many ballads or not that many acoustic guitar songs on it. Of course there is May I, which every girl who have heard Submachine loves. But this album verges on total musique concrete, avant-garde. If you listen to the song Reinhard and Geraldine, Colores para Dolores, the second song on the album, try listening to that one and try to figure out what the fuck's going on. After about 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, there's some insane cut-ups in the tapes, I think. It's very innovative for me. Of course, there may be people before Kevin Ayers doing this kind of thing, Stockhausen maybe, even Nick Mason on the studio side of Ummagumma and so forth. But this album is also fantastic. A very, very young Mike Oldfield plays bass on this, and it's very good. It is very, very, very good. I don't know where to start with Kevin Ayers, but each of his first 6 albums are, to me, incredibly good albums. His voice, I like it. He has a very low and dark voice, totally unlike Robert Wyatt. So for some it may be a learn to like it kind of thing, but I could have said the same with Robert Wyatt, and it's, I would say, squeaky high vocals, but you know what I mean. I hope you know what I mean. I love both of these artists as vocalists, composers, co-workers. His third album, Kevin Ayers, Whatever She Brings, We Sing. Do I have to mention any songs? I love Song from the Bottom of the Well. I love the opening, There Is Loving Among Us. I love Margaret. But if you just want a very easy and short, fun song, take a listen to Stranger in Blue Suede Shoes. I think that was maybe the single from this album. And yes, this album features Kevin Ayers, David Bedford, Mike Oldfield, Didier Malhebre from Gong, Dave Dufort on drums. I'm not sure if that may be Pip Pyle or Robert Wyatt, maybe. I've never heard that name. Robert Wyatt, vocal harmony on Whatever She Brings, etc. So he sings backup on almost all of the album. Jerry Fields, I'm not sure who is. Tony Carr, I'm not sure. Many drummers here. 1, 2, 3 drummers. Tony Carr, I don't know him. William Murphy, I don't know him. And Johnny Van Derek on violin, I don't know him either. But yes, some Gong members, some Submachine members. It's a great album. And then his fourth album, Banana Amour. I don't know what's up with all this banana thing, because both Kevin Ayers and David Allen had a fascination with bananas. Banana Moon by David Allen, and Have a Banana, and yes, and Kevin Ayers Banana Amour. So I guess there was some kind of fascination with bananas in the early Soft Machine camp. This album is also fantastic. I have to mention a couple of things about this album. I'm sorry for dragging this out, but there's a song called "Oh What a Dream," which is Kevin Ayers' beautiful tribute and song to Syd Barrett. It feels like he wrote it to him, and here, Syd, here's a song I wrote for you. Because, as I told you, Kevin Ayers wanted to have Syd Barrett on his album, and they tried with singing a song, and Kevin Ayers, he was told many times, it will not work. Syd Barrett is not the same person as he was. But Kevin, I've done a lot of acid too, blah blah blah. But he realized that Syd was long gone. So he wrote the beautiful song, "Oh What a Dream," which is fantastic. He even wrote a song to Nico, Christina Pafgren, Decadence, and this tune is one of my all-time favorite Kevin Ayers songs. It features Mike Rutledge from Soft Machine, and Robert Wyatt is also on this album. He sings on Hymn, which is it's as good as it gets. Other guests worth mentioning on this one. Let's see. Archie Leggett, Eddie Sparrow, Kevin Ayers, Robert Wyatt, Steve Hillage, Mike Rutledge, Howie Casey, Dave Caswell, Lyle Jenkins, maybe Carl Jenkins, maybe he's related, or she is related, maybe in fact his wife, I'm not sure, and Ronnie Prince, Tristan Fry, and of course David Bedford. Maybe my favorite Kevin Ayers album. Some days it is. And the last one I'll show, Kevin Ayers, The Confession of Dr. Dream and Other Stories. The A side of this is very light-hearted and very accessible, in fact. It opens with Day by Day, See You Later, and a strange blues called Didn't Feel Lonely Till I Thought of You, or more rock, it's a rock song. And then the blues song, Everybody Sometimes and Some People's All the Time Blues. Yes, that's the title. And then you get the last song on side A, which now the weirdness starts. And the tune is called It Begins With a Blessing. Once I awakened, but it ends with a curse. And then there's a 1 minute blues song called Ball Bearing Blues. Ball Bearing Blues. But the true meat for me on this album is the entirety of side B, which is of course the title cut, The Confession of Dr. Dream and Other Stories. It is split into 4 parts, and Nico sings on it, Mike Rutledge plays organ on it. Other noteworthy names on this, I'll go through it. Kevin Ayers, Sam Mitchell, Mark Warner, Rupert Hine, John Perry from Caravan, and John Perry, he played in Caravan for Perry and other bands. Michael Giles from King Crimson, the drummer on in the Court of the Crimson King. He pressed drums on all of this. Excellent drummer. And you should also check out his album with Ian MacDonald called MacDonald's Gals. They did an album just after leaving King Crimson, and that one is the perfect companion album to the second King Crimson album called In the Wake of Poseidon. But I digress. And there are some guest musicians there. Ollie Halsall makes his first appearance, and he was with Kevin Ayers, I think, for the rest of his life. And yes, Mike Oldfield joins in on the blues song. Great song. And Lol Coxill, of course, we all know Lol Coxill, plays sax on a tune. Nico singing on one song. Jon Gustafsson plays bass on one song. And yes, Ratledge, of course, is on this album. Side B here is maybe my all-time favorite Kevin Ayers, because it's so dense. Especially the first part is so dense, dark, not menacing, but I wouldn't recommend it if you are having a bad day. But it's a very dark opening. But it all suddenly shifts into a very uplifting theme. And then Mike Ratledge comes in on his fantastic organ and goes from there. Alright, we're back to Gong, or we're back to Brainwill 3, which is Daevid Allen and Hugh Chopper from Soft Machine and Chris Cutler from Henry Cow. And the first time I heard this, I thought they were more or less just improvising, and I think in fact they are. The majority of this album was recorded live June the 10th 2007, and 2 other songs at other dates. Songs performed here, you got of course Trial by Headline. Not the best version I've heard of the song, but it's good. And then comes Dedicated to PG. Who is PG? It can't be Peter Gabriel. PG. If you have any idea, feel free to leave a comment. Dedicated to PG, but she couldn't hear it. Okay, so it's a woman. I'm not sure. Then Ocean Mother, Who's Afraid, Basement Suite. I've been stoned, babe. And then Return to Basement, and then a tune called The Rubaiyat of Honorium Tonsilliskt. Whatever that means. And we get Hours Gone, and they end with a brilliant We Did It Again. Here just they call it Did It Again in great a great early Soft Machine song. And respect to Daevid Allen for bringing up old Soft Machine songs from the early days, like 66, 67, 68, yeah. Then we have Gong, Global Family, live in Brazil, the 20th November 2007, with Daevid Allen, Josh Pollock, Fabio Guffetti, Fred Burley, Gabriel Costa, and Marcelo Ringel. I think this was, I think David was invited to join these other persons, which I believe is Brazilians, all of them, except of course Josh Pollock. But this is the first album with Fabio Golfetti, which still now is in Gong, even after David died. And here they perform, you know, they just performed the best of Gong 1971 to 74. All the songs are from the trilogy, and of course a good chunk of Camembert Electrique. Sound quality here is amazing. The band sounds incredibly rehearsed, and you can hear, if you listen, Daevid Allen is having too much fun. But that's how we like it. Next, Gong 2032, released in 2009. And now we got Steve Hillage back, Gilly Smith is back, Miquette Gurandy is back, Mark Howlett is back, Didier Malhebre is back, and Chris Taylor on drums, Theo Travis on saxophones and flutes along with Didier, and Yuji Katsui. I have no idea who that is. But this album is, when it was released, it was kind of a return to form. Gong is back. I loved it very much when it was released. Then I just tossed it away. I still not regularly, but I still come back to it because it is a very interesting album. I would say check out Escape Control Delete for a great tune, or if you want the more fun song, try the single How to Stay Alive. It's a well worthy album under the name Gong. We move on. This is You, Me and Us, and that's a play on Yumi, Yumi Hara. So it's Yumi Hara and Daevid Allen and Chris Cutler. If you could see it, this one is signed by Yumi and Chris Cutler. I ordered directly from Yumi's homepage. She's very known in the rock in a potion scene. She's been in tons of Henry Cow, not reunions, but tributes, Robert Wyatt tributes. She still performs live with Chris Cutler and many legends. Tim Hutchinson from Henry Cow. She's all around. If you do some research, you'll find out that she's maybe one of the keeping the rock in a potion flame, and not only rock in a potion, but the avant-garde, the rock in a potion, the Gong legacy, Henry Cow legacy. It's a long time since I listened to it. I think everything, almost everything here is improvised, because it says all tracks by Allen, Cutler and Hara, but they play a master builder, and I believe the last song, De Ina Ma Itu Deta, I think some Gong themes are incorporated in this album, and I think it's all recorded live. Let me see. Yes. Look at the CD. That's one of the most beautiful CDs I've ever seen. It's a drawing, of course, by Daevid Allen, which was so much more than a poet, so much more than a composer. I mean, his drawings are just incredible. If you have if you have this book, this box set, you get a lot of his early drawings during the early period of Gong. But it's all recorded live, 2013. And it was released in 2014. Try to go a little quicker. This is a little oddity. It is a DVD, and it was released only because Daevid Allen could not come to Japan, again signed by both Chris Cutler and Yumi. It says here, limited edition DVD, specially made for members of the audience who were given a rain check. This is a rain check, and I'm quite happy that I got a rain check. This is number 5 of 27. I don't know if that means anything, but I don't think many have this. But yes, the people were given this rain check when Daevid Allen was unable to travel and to do what became the You, Me and Us Get Well Soon David Japan tour. So I believe maybe they did a tour without David. I'm not sure. There's very little info regarding You, Me and Us. I didn't even know about that project by Daevid Allen until 2018-19, after he sadly passed away. We move on. Gong, I See You. The last album recorded with Daevid Allen alive. Daevid Allen had cancer, and he was, I believe he was on the mend, but then he thought, I might be wrong, but this is what I've heard, and my conclusion is he was getting better and better, and then he stopped with all the medicine, and he believed that yoga might heal him, something like that. I might have misunderstood it, but I don't think I'm too far from the story. If you know anything about what I just said, it might be bullshit, but if you know anything more, or if you know I'm wrong or right or semi-right, please leave a comment. And this is Gong with Daevid Allen, the last album with Daevid Allen, and all these 5 other people continued as Gong. It was Daevid Allen's wish that covers from Guapo and the Holy Family. He have been playing with many others too. It was Daevid Allen's wish that he would become the lead vocalist and the leader of Gong when David traveled up into the planet Gong for good. Great artwork by Daevid Allen, as always. I can sit for hours and just look into his drawings. This album is very decent, and in fact Gilly Smythe also, before she died, I think a year after David, she's also on this album. I think on 1 or 2 songs. Just like in the old days, she came and went, you know. And noteworthy mentions on this one. Occupy is a great tune. The Eternal Wheel Spins. It's like a flashback. If you know the old Gong and you put on that tune, you kind of, I got flashbacks when that tune came up, and yeah. Inside My T-shirt is a fun tune. Thank You is beautiful. I believe he knew he had cancer by this point, and I believe I'm not sure, maybe he was aware that he was gonna die. And it ends with a glissando typical Gong tune called Shakti Yoni and Dingo Virgin, which is yet another alter ego for Gilly Smythe, Shakti Yoni, and Dingo Virgin, which is Daevid Allen. It is a very good album, but this one is better. It does feature Daevid Allen on a couple of things, and I'm glad it has some Daevid Allen in it. David, at least he wrote, I think he wrote Capital and Model Village and Beatrix, and yeah, and yeah, it was recorded in 2016. They had a year off after David passed, I believe, and what to say about the songs? You should really check out Rejoice. I like side 3 and side 4. I like everything, but Rejoice is a very uplifting and a very nice tribute to David Allen. Rejoice, I'm dead. At last, I'm free. And on this tune, Steve Hillage guests and Didier Malhebre guests. So of course it is Gong. All those idiots I've been having discussions with that no, it's not Gong anymore. But you could say that about a lot of Gong albums. Pierre Moerlens Gong. Is it Gong? Is it not Gong? Is it only Gong if David Allen is involved? We have Mother Gong, which David guested on some, but yeah. To me, this and also this, still their latest to this date. They have released a live album after this one, which I still haven't gotten. But yes, they continue. For me, they continue Gong in an excellent way. If you ask me, you can't go wrong with any of the Gong albums after David passed away. And with this album, the universe also collapses. It opens with a 20-minute tune called Forever Reoccurring, and it got everything you want from a Gong song, besides maybe David Allen's vocals. But covers, he does a great job. And also the first song on side B, If Never I'm and Ever You, is a 2-minute masterpiece too. And the last 2 songs are also good, but not as good as the first two songs. They are very good, of course. Dave Stewart is the bass player in Gong. He joined in 2014, I guess, or 2012, 2013. He is featured on the last 3 or 4 Gong albums. And on this album, you have, of course, David Allen is guesting, and Cavus is guesting. It is, and Fabio Golfetti is also guesting. So, and Steve Hillage is guesting. So in a way, it's a lost Gong album, but it's very centered around Dave Stewart and his way of playing the bass guitar. I order it without even hearing it, and to me, it is a great addition to my collection. Let's move on. Cavus, the now leader of Gong, or the vocalist and main composer of Gong. He did a solo album during the pandemic called Hip to the Jag. I ordered this and I got it signed. And this is a very mellow album. There are some acoustic guitars, a lot of vocals. There's a lot of harmonium. You know Nico, she performed a lot of on the organ harmonium. Well, we're soon finished. Why do I add this? Of course, because Harry Williamson played in Mother Gong, and disc 2 was in fact credited. Disc 1, sorry, was credited to Mother Gong, but disc 1 is just snippets of the stuff that is on disc 2, which is the demo of Gypsy Suite and the demo of Tarka, which both is amazing. If you love early Genesis, Trespass, Nursery Rhyme, check out Gypsy Suites by Anthony Phillips and Harry Williamson. You know, Anthony Phillips was a founding member of Genesis, from Genesis to Revelation and Trespass, and he was also the main writer of the musical books from Nursery Rhyme. If you don't believe me, just check out Anthony Phillips F Sharp 2, I think it is, on the archive collection. And yes, this is the finished version of Tarka. Took many years to materialize, I assume, because this was released in 1988. And the other version here, the first version of Tarka, was recorded in 75 and 76. So this is the full orchestral band version, and it is fantastic. It's sort of a classical album, but it's more than that. Here you have guests like Lindsay Cooper from Henry Cow, rest in peace. You have Guy Evans from Van de Graaf Generator, and yes, of course, Didier Malhebre from Gong. He is on it. So of course it's a Gong related album. Who would believe Anthony Phillips from Genesis had a connection to Gong? But oh, so many have a connection to Gong. Here is a Harry Williamson solo album. This is sort of recorded all over the place. It features some Mother Gong songs. Most of the songs, I think, is solo Harry. But yes, Didier Malhebre is on some songs. Guy Evans drops by on some songs. Gilly Smythe, I believe, is on one song. Yes. And this is also interesting, but not nearly as interesting as the Tarka album. And now I'm gonna be real quick. Steve Hillage, Fish Rising, the debut album of Steve Hillage, done straight after Daevid Allen left Gong, and Gong were about to record Shamal. This features all of the Gong members, minus Gilly Smythe and Daevid Allen. That is Tim Blake, Mike Howlett, Pierre Moerlens, and also Dave Stewart from Hatfield in the North. This is seen as one of Canterbury's masterpieces, and if you know it, you'll probably agree. Second Steve Hillage solo album, L, recorded in Todd Rundgren's studio, and the backing band is all Utopians. So in a way, it's like a lost Utopia album, 1976. It has the same, crappy drum sound in a good way as Todd Rundgren Initiation and Utopia Ra and the others, the other 70s Utopia albums. And other guests here, well, Steve Hillage, of course, and his partner Miquette Guradi, Don Cherry, and then, of course, Utopia, Roger Powell, John Wilcox, Kasim Sultan, and Todd. And it opens with a cool version of Hurdy-Gurdy Man by Donovan. And he also does his version of Om Namah Shivaya, which is excellent. The guitar solo on this one, wow. I bet Todd and Steve did a lot of LSD during this recording. It is well documented that Todd did a lot of acid, 72, 3, 4, 5, so yeah. And also a fantastic version of It's All Too Much by George Harrison or the Beatles. But the real highlight for me is Luna Music Suite, which is the Yang to Solar Music Suite from Fish Rising. Motivation Radio, his third. The music is good. The problem I got with this is minor, but it is the production or the lack of it, maybe. There's a lot of acoustic guitars. To me, it feels like he weren't quite sure where he was gonna go. So you get a real hodgepodge of pop songs, psychedelic songs, prog workouts. Worth mentioning is the beautiful Octave Doctors. Searching for the Sparks is good. And he does a great cover of Not Fade Away, which I believe many people performed that tune in the 60s, 50s, 60s. Buddy Holly, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. And on this, he also got a totally new band. I won't mention it because I think this video won't record too long. Steve Village Green. This one is maybe my second favorite Steve Village album after his debut album, produced by Nick Mason. What can I say about it? It is excellent. I love everything. I love everything on this album. Clive Bunker from Jethro Tull plays some drums. Even Andy Anderson, who joined The Cure on The Top in '84, and also some of the Japanese Whisper stuff. He was in fact in Steve Village band. And it's Green. I think it's my second favorite. Steve Village. This is Motivation Do music, and this was commissioned, I believe, by some art installation or something like that. This is pure ambient, and it is very good. It's beautiful ambient music. Maybe that one is my third favorite Village. Live Herald is only official live album during his first run, or his classic period. And this is just stellar. It's all the Steve Village you need from the first 3 albums. There are nothing from the ambient album, which I just mentioned, but he plays Salmon Song, Dervish Riff, Castle in the Clouds, Hurdy-Gurdy Man, Lights in the Sky, Searching for the Spark, Electric Gypsies, Radium, Luna Music Suite, Meditation of the Dragon, It's All Too Much, The Golden Vibe, and Solo Music Suite. It is killer. Steve Village Open. Here he flirts with a lot of various music styles. Some songs are on the verge of disco in a good way. But this one is all over the place. There are rock songs, there are ambient songs, there are some punk-ish songs. Healing Feeling is a great tune, and there are many good songs on this one also. He does a great cover of Getting Better by Beatles, which is really fun. Getting in Tune is great. Don't Dare to Do It is also great. It's a great album. Steve Village live in Düsseldorf. I won't say too much about it, but it's excellent sound quality, and the setlist is also very good. Tim Blake's first album, Crystal Machine. If you don't know this, get it. Get it. The original album is fantastic. It's everything you want from an ex-Gong member. We have 3 bonus tracks, which isn't that super, but on Tim Blake's second album, Blake's New Jerusalem, you get almost the entire unreleased album called Waterfall in Space. You get about 38 minutes of that. I've heard these cassette versions, and I don't miss the stuff that's not on here because it sounds like they're just jamming the things not presented here as bonus. Just sounds like one of the songs just sounds like a blues song, and some tune-ups and some noodlings. I'm not sure. The Waterfall in Space album is quite a mystery, but I'm happy he finally released nearly 40 minutes of it, nearly everything. Tim Blake's latest studio album, No Guitar, which is a pun on no guitar. This one is okay. When it comes to the later Tim Blake albums, I prefer the Khalida Music 2. It has a very long ambient tune on that one, which is fantastic. This album is also, it is very good, but it's not the same caliber as the first two proper Hillage albums. The Tim Blake box set, Lighthouse. Why on earth did I buy this? Well, firstly, because disc 3 is all unreleased stuff, things from 1972, and I believe things right around his first album or in between the first and second album. So this is just pure gold for a fan of Gong and Tim Blake. And the rest is a combination of you get some Gong songs which he performed and also wrote some of them. You get even Lighthouse, recorded live by Hawkwind. He was a member of Hawkwind, 1979, and also he rejoined a little later on Onwards, I think. And yeah, some more Hawkwinds, Who's Gonna Win the War, and Prelude from Levitation, which he is featured on. And yes, the rest of this is like a best of outside the rarities. And it features a DVD where I think this is playback. It sounds like playback because it sounds exactly the same as the studio version. But it's nice to see Tim Blake in his prime, 1979, just sitting with his stack of synthesizers and just, yeah, highly recommended for people who like Gong. Let's say you like Sprinkling of Clouds by Gong, well, that's a Tim Blake song. If you like Other Side of the Sky, again, that's a Tim Blake song. So if you haven't checked out Tim Blake, this is the one I prefer of his later ones. If you don't know any Tim Blake solo, I'd say go for the first album, which I just showed you. Start with Crystal Machine, and then also get Blake's New Jerusalem. Not only because you get the unreleased album as bonus, but the album itself also is incredible. Well, I think that's about it. I won't be showing these anymore, but these are fun. I have some Gong vinyl. This is this features one LP, one-sided, 23 minutes of Gong, 72 stuff not on albums, 3 LP Gong live in Lyon. It was just released on Record Store Day. Not the best sounding one, but I love it. Of course I love it. And each album, this is the first one for me. I have some colored vinyls and all of this, but not like this. Pretty spacey stuff. LP. Looks kind of cool. And I recently got the Greasy Truckers album, which has one LP side of Gong Music Live 73, which also is fantastic. So that's it, folks. Thanks for watching, and feel free to comment. I would highly appreciate any comment.